What an intro.
Everybody to the very first Wrestlebuddy Awards show. It is your host, the Drip King, Jimmy Bebe, and I am joined by two good friends of mine, Zane and Nick. Say hello.
Hello. Welcome to the show, everybody.
As you can tell, it's a star-studded event. I'm the star, and I'm a stud. But just to give you a quick rundown of how this whole thing is going to go, unfortunately, we limited it to the main three promotions for all the nominations. So Stardom, New Japan, I'm sorry for the fans out there. We were allowed four options. We had to eliminate some. So if you have any that you want to get a shout out to, just hit us up in the comments on the channel and we'll throw them out for you. So again, AEW, WWE, and Impact, that's what we're limited to. So we're just going to jump right into the nominations. And our first one is going to be for the Breakout Performer of the Year. So Zane, who do you think, in your personal opinion, was the Breakout Performer of the Year? Zane?
The obvious one. I think that
there we go.
I'm going to have to kind of lean towards MJF, although he won't kind of qualify as a breakout star because we saw him be proved to be the cream of the crop, and he is kind of slowly fitting into that role of being the best, like the top guy or one of the best performers in the world in years to come. So for me, the breakout star in its definition, while MJF might not fit it, I think for me, MJF is the breakout star for this year, even though you can argue that he is a made star from his performance in the previous years.
Not bad. I feel like the second half of the year, I guess you could make an argument for that. First half of the year, he was a little bit weighed down by a 50-year-old Jericho, but it is what it is. And quick shout out to our buddy Andy. How you doing? Say hello.
Hey, Andy.
But yeah, I guess I can see what you meant with MJF. It's an argument you could make. What about you, Nick?
He's only had 2 matches, but it's got to be Hook. That kid has got something. No, right, you look at every other rookie that's come around the last couple of years. Dominic Mysterio was a poor-ass clone of his father. There is nothing special about that kid, other than the fact that he's taller than his dad. He's just a carbon copy of the man, and there is no uniqueness to him at all. Hook may wrestle like his dad, but that kid has presence. Like, he's had 2 matches. He hasn't said a word. He walks in, he kills people, he no-sells, he gets out. He works like Goldberg mixed with his father, and everybody is absolutely loving it. That kid's going to go, short of injury or being a moron, he is going to go miles in this business. Like, miles.
I do agree that he does have a very bright future. Had he been around a few more matches, I might agree with you 100%. But I feel like the 2 matches, in my opinion, just holds him back for taking this one. And
that's fair enough.
Mine, I'm gonna give a shout out to Matt Riddle. I feel like he started off the year. A lot of people weren't really into him because of outside issues, not really digging the character. But he found a way to turn that around. He lashed himself onto Randy. And in my opinion, he's been the MVP of Monday Night Raw all year long. I think he hasn't had a bad match. And I think he just broke out this year. I think he's in for a very big 2022. That's just my opinion, though. But all good shout-outs. I'm glad we touched individual promotions. But without
it's always It's always good to agree to disagree.
Yes, absolutely.
But Hook is the objectively right answer to this one.
We will now head into the nominations, followed by the winner. So check them out, and here we go. Braun Breaker. I think the obviously the standout from NXT 2.0 at least. What are you guys' opinions on that? We'll start with Nick this time.
Yeah, man, it makes perfect sense, really. Like, the guy is... I'm not a huge fan of 2.0, like what they're doing with NXT. I don't think it's improved the product that much. But out of a mediocre pond, he is a shining pearl. Like, that boy can go flat. I know he's Rick's kid and everything, but that guy can flat out go. He is really good. His mic skills are great. He doesn't wrestle too much like his parents, even though he does tribute them in his moveset. The guy's ace. Like, more than deserved to win.
Yeah, we got who was it? Unfiltered Chaos giving a shout out to Braun. Yes, he did take it away. He's the man. He's the future of WWE. I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah.
What about you, Zane? What do you think about Braun taking home the gold?
I think the best thing to come out of NXT 2.0 is Braun Breaker, and the fact that they have kind of a star that can settle well into the main roster and kind of dethrone possibly Roman Reigns, right? Because when we talk about top guys in the company, we always look at, right, these guys with strong builds and they have the look of they can really talk, right? And Braun Baker obviously inherited the best of his father's genes, his uncle's genes, and he, even though he has had a handful of matches, I have to really agree with what Nick said. He is really a star right now. And yeah, it makes sense giving him the breakout star, but I would really have preferred it if it went to Hook. But, well, what can you do?
Andy says, come on, Hook, really?
Well, Andy's opinions don't matter because he's not here in the podcast.
Yeah.
But he's here in spirit.
Yeah, he is here.
He's
He
spirit.
is
The Three Faces
It's true.
of the Wrestlebuddy podcast. He gets a voice.
Love you, Andy.
But I'm not going to argue against Braun Breaker because, again, I think he's the clear biggest name out of NXT 2.0. And it's clear they're going to strap the rock at this kid. He's going to go straight up.
Yeah, completely.
Most overrated is Zane's internet. I believe that's the most non-existent thing this
I
year.
apologize if it's bugging right now.
But no, you're good. So far, so good. You didn't jinx it this time.
Yeah,
but we're
okay.
going to move on to the next topic, guys. We're going to move right in to the disappointment of the year. This could go literally anywhere, depending on your preference. So let's start it off with Nick. What was your disappointment for the year 2021?
Miz's world title run. Miz's world title run. Just like, I was so happy when they put the belt back on him because that guy is the modern day honky tonk man. He works harder and smarter than anyone else in WWE and nobody gives him credit for it. He earned that belt, and the fact that he got it for like a cup of coffee and then it was gone again, I just was so gutted for him. It was just massively disappointing. He could do so much with that world title because he did so much with the Intercontinental title to make people notice it again and realize that it was a prize worth fighting for. The WWE title, largely thanks to how good Roman's been, has been devalued massively in the company, and it shouldn't have been. It's the main belt. It's the belt with all the lineage. It's the belt with all the history. And I think Miz could have really brought some prestige back to that as a long run, a long character-driven run. And I was just so gutted when he didn't get more than, a week.
Yeah.
It was an episode of Raw, and that was it.
So we got Dale saying it was Big E's title run, which I kind of agree with a little bit. And then Andy's throwing in Nikki Ash's title run. Two that are very worthy nominations for this award. But the Miz,
definitely.
I think the only thing that doesn't make that a disappointment for me is just his character. I don't feel like was deserving of it when we've seen other iterations of this character that were much more and didn't get the shot. Like this version of Miz, I think would be much more suited for a title run, in my opinion. But let's shoot over to Zane.
I see that.
Shoot over to Zane. What's your disappointment of the year 2021?
Given how my semester went, it's probably me. I'm the disappointment of the year. But since we've kind of touched base with WWE over here, I think I'm going to hop on over to AEW. And I think for me, it's the Pinnacle versus Inner Circle or the MJF versus Chris Jericho feud, because I was really expecting some big things to come out of that. Because even with Blood and Guts in general, the match itself was good, but the ending was botched. And then they overdid it so many times, and in the end, Jericho came out on top, which I don't think really made sense. Like, why, if you're prepping MJF for the main event spot, why have him lose to Jericho? I was really hoping that they could have had MJF go over Jericho, and it even devalues Jericho himself, because what is he doing after that? He's gone out to feud with the American Top Team, which is even a bigger disappointment, which would have been a disappointment if anyone would have joined any expectations with that. But here we are, because I really thought that Pinnacle was going to be the faction of AEW, and it wasn't, and it kind of has broken off. So yeah, for me, it's the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle feud.
Nice. Shout out to my buddy Austin. Thank you for joining. And he said that boy Flashy. I don't know who that is. It says quality, but thank you. I am Flashy. That's how I like to live my life. As far as disappointment of the year for me, it's the NXT rebrand. They took something I loved so much, something I was so passionate about, and they just gutted it and turned it into what it used to be, just with colors everywhere, and it just killed me. And fancy enough, it's one of the nominations. So let's take a look at the rest of the nominations and see which disappointment was the disappointment of the year. Roll. Okay, so just another quick nod. Quality. I'm assuming it's my buddy Tom. I appreciate you tuning in as well. If it's not Tom, sorry, I don't know who you are. But I don't think anybody is surprised after seeing those nominations that it was the WWE releases that took this award. I am not surprised at all, just by the reactions I've seen all year. And yes, Braun can get these hands. So, Zane, what do you think about the WWE releases being the winner of this not so prestigious award?
I'm not going to call them the winner, because obviously WWE releases were kind of the saddest thing to come out this year, like in wrestling news in general, because these were absolutely unfortunate, and obviously we won't celebrate anyone losing their jobs, obviously. And I'm very lucky that I'm very happy that all of these people ended up with jobs. I found landing spots. So even those who haven't, I'm pretty sure they're all talented people, and they'll end up in safe hands. But it was really a shocker for me, because when the first wave came, I think it was either in April, right? April 15th, yeah, right. In 1 year after last year's releases. And then they just kept on coming, and it was just massively disappointing. It was just depressing, to be honest, because you see all these top guys, you see your favorite stars who you expect to see on TV, and one day you realize that they are fine, and you won't be seeing them on the same channel or even wrestling anymore again. Like Bray Wyatt. I was such a big fan of the guy, and now he's not even in wrestling right now. So that's kind of sad.
What about you, Nick? What are your thoughts on WWE releases winning this not so prestigious?
Wow. There couldn't have really been anything else really with those nominations.
Nah.
So many people losing their jobs in such a short space of time. When a company is making billions of dollars in profit, and yet the excuse they use time and again is budget cuts. It's like, unless WWE is secretly planning to sell to Disney, releasing all these people, they didn't have to do it. I mean, you look at Ring of Honor, which was closing down because they looked after all of their wrestlers so much during the pandemic. They made sure they all got paid. They all had work, even though it was an empty arena show or they couldn't do much with it. They did everything they could, and yet you've got the biggest wrestling company in the world just going, no, off you go. there's nowhere to work because there's a pandemic on, but oh, you'll be fine. It's just sad, unfortunately. I mean, now with the world opening back up and the indie scene opening back up, there's finally places for all these people to go, but you never like to see anyone lose their job.
No, not at all. But I do believe in a silver lining in everything, and all these independents, they've been kind of flourishing with these releases. It's given people a place to go. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's how I like to stay positive with these things. And if you look at all the people who have been released, they have, for better or worse, for better terms, I guess, found themselves in better situations. And now we are joined by Maddie just in time for our next.
I'm back.
We are going to jump right into the Male Match of the Year award. And I'm just going to go real quick. Just give me your match. Little quick rundown why you picked that match. And it could be anything. You don't have to stick to our 3 promotions. And we'll go right to Maddie since he just joined us. What was your Male Match of the Year?
Thank you guys for having me. Sorry it took me so long to get here. But going right into a topic, my Male Match of the Year definitely goes all the way back to the beginning of January, all the way to Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. It's Kota Ibushi versus Jay White. That is probably, at least this year, one of the best heel versus face dynamic matches I've seen this year.
I probably could have called that one for Maddie. Not surprised at all. Good shout out, though. It was a great match. Now let's switch it over to Zane. What was your Male Match of the Year?
Omega Danielson. For me, it was a dream match. You see 2 guys who haven't interacted with each other much, but have very similar styles, and their ascent to the top was quite similar as well. And throughout the 2010s, they were just growing in fame and popularity, and now this is the pinnacle, and the 2 are finally meeting. Well, Andy, your opinion doesn't count. You're not on the podcast.
We already discussed this, Zane. I will mute you. Andy's opinion counts for sure. And we got a Shingo versus Tanahashi shout out there as well. Now,
Shingo Tanahashi was good.
Switch it over to Nick.
Yeah,
what was your Male Match of the Year?
Bryan Danielson, Minoru Suzuki.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. I like stiff, beefy boys beating stiff, beefy shots out of each other, and those 2 slapped 10 shades of shit off each other's chest.
Yeah,
Like
very brutal.
that was.
Yes.
Yeah, I like a hard hitting, and there are no 2 better people as stiff as Danielson and Suzuki. Like anybody that turns around and says wrestling doesn't hurt, watch that match.
Yeah, no, that first forearm from Suzuki to Bryan had me jumped out of my seat going, oh my God.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Myself, I'm going to be a homer again. I am fancy on the men's NXT War Games match just because we got a little bit of the new stuff, and you got that story of the old guys trying to hold on to what that last bit of glory they had, and the story untold throughout the whole match was great. You had great spots. It was brutal, and I feel like they focused more on story than the actual spots, and it was beautiful to watch. Again, bias homer for sure because I love the NXT Black and Gold. It was the last hurrah, and it was done masterfully. But now we've gotten our picks out of the way. Let's take a look at the nominations and see who the winner was. Roll that beautiful footage, Alex. Is anybody surprised by that one either? Because I'm not.
Not at all.
One of the most universally loved matches of the year. Everyone. So, does anybody if you disagree in any way, if you have any issues with it, feel free to speak up now. If not, we're just gonna move right into the match of the year because it was a great match.
Yeah, more than deserved it.
Yeah.
More than deserved it. As previously said, I like beefy boys slapping beef, and
Yeah.
those two
They
slap beef like.
Yeah.
that shit out of
Yeah.
So,
I saw the first Walter. I watched the first Walter Dragunov match in progress live here in the UK.
yeah.
I was ringside for it,
Woo.
and those two dance so sublimely together. It's ridiculous.
They like hurting each other.
What would I wouldn't give to be in that empty arena during their first match in NXT UK?
Oh,
It would have been beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, with the male match out of the year, let's move right into the female match of the year. So, again, we'll just make it real quick. Hit you up. Tell me your match. Quick reason why. I'll start this one. I'm going to give a shocker. It was on an AEW Dynamite show. We had Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida.
Oh.
In October on the 27th. It was just beautiful. I couldn't tell you why I am so fascinated with Serena Deeb. She's really good, but I feel like it's art every time she's in the ring. And Hikaru Shida is just a fantastic dance partner for her. That's my personal choice for this one. But now we'll switch it over to Nick. Nick, what was your choice?
Mickey James versus Deonna Purrazzo.
Okay.
Yeah. Deanna's my favorite female performer. She's my female wrestler of the year. She's done so well since leaving WWE after that pathetic run that she had.
Yeah.
And I love Mickey. Mickey's a legend. Anytime you get to see her work and put somebody over like the way she did, even though she won, was a brilliant match.
We got Andy shouting out Bianca and Sasha, and we got Dale hitting up the AEW Kool-Aid drinkers, saying it would be Ruby Soho and the Bunny. So with that said, we will take it over to Andy's favorite little shit, Zane, and he will give us his female match of the year.
For once, I actually agree with Andy on this. It has to be Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, WrestleMania Night 1 for me, because of the pure emotion involved, and the match. Just watch that hair whip back, like the sound and the echo created throughout the arena. I think even if the match itself wasn't as good as some of the others mentioned, the momentous occasion of the match just lifted that up to another level.
I was there, and the whip was just as loud in the arena as it was on TV. I can say that for a fact. Sasha is a champ for taking that thing. Now we'll shoot it down to Maddie. Maddie, what was your female match of the year?
I think I might be the only one here that I haven't seen anybody else say this on the Twitterverse, but it's Bianca versus Bayley at Hell in a Cell this year. That match was phenomenal.
That's a nice nod.
Yeah.
For sure.
No, it's definitely probably one of the most underrated matches of this year. And Bianca and Bayley they had 20 minutes to let this Hell in a Cell work, and they just made magic out of it. So it's Bianca Bayley in the Hell in a Cell for me.
Good choice. And I feel like if Bianca didn't get hurt and we were able to see the culmination of that feud, you might have got a little bit more love. I think that was the tragic. Hello, Christopher LaBelle.
Hey, Chris.
It's a tragic thing that happened to Bayley, and it really kind of screwed her over. Lights out match. Yes, Dale. Very nice nod as well. But
that did happen this year. Holy hell.
And with that match being brought up, we'll go right into the nominations because that made the cut. So let's roll it, Alex. And just like that, the match, Dale comes in with his choice, and that's our winner, the Britt Baker Thunder Rosa Lights Out match, the match that really turned Britt into the star she is today. I mean, she was on that slow ascent, but that was the one that put her over.
That was her 316 moment.
We can't be mad at that. And like my buddy Thomas just said, smash that like button, y'all. Y'all know you're enjoying the show. But like with the male match, I don't think anybody is going to have an argument against that. Sure, there are matches that you would prefer over, but I don't think anybody can really hate on that one as the winner.
No,
without a doubt.
Yeah, without that.
Good deal.
And
Congratulations.
And they put on one of the best death matches of the year as well. Like as a whole,
would have never expected to see that out of Britt Baker.
No,
yes, Britt Baker, no, shocked the shit out of me, and it was awesome. So on to the next one. We got the most underrated performer of the year. Again, this is one that could really just go anywhere. Let your minds just wander. And we'll start off with Nick. Who was your most underrated performer of 2021?
Scorpio Sky.
Woof. I fucking haven't seen enough of him.
No. There's a difference between being on television and being in the ring.
Yeah.
That guy is one of the most talented workers they have in the company. He's fantastic on the microphone. He looks great. And in ring, he's freaking flawless. Everything he does is perfect and smooth. Yet, it's always Ethan Page getting the matches. Like, it's Ethan Page going for Cody next week. Right? The only thing I can think of is maybe AEW are going to have him win that stupid Sonic the Hedgehog ring again. And then he's going to get a title. And then he's going to get a title shot. But he doesn't get used enough. He's one of my boys. I wish nothing but the best things for him, and people need to realize that he is one of the best things in wrestling and just needs to be utilized as such.
Chris gave a shout to QT Marshall, and I'm going to shout. I don't think it's a bad nod. I think QT Marshall
I think it's a
bad rap for QT. But let's move it on to Maddie. Who is your most underrated of the year?
I'm always until they throw the fucking title on him going to say Sami Zayn. It's Sami Zayn. It's my boy. I can't say enough how much I love his enthusiasm, his energy, everything he brings to wrestling. And we got to see a little bit of that this year, but not anywhere near what Sami Zayn can produce as a character. Even in the ring, like we got Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at Mania, but even they didn't get the chance to shine that they could have.
They should have got 20 minutes and they didn't. And
that
was
and they shouldn't have had they shouldn't have had the Paul brother involved in there at all.
My biggest disappointment at WrestleMania though was the fact that they didn't get 20 minutes because I was so excited I was going to get to see it live. It didn't happen. But stirring away from the topic, we're going to switch it over to Zayn. He picked Eddie Kingston. Case closed. So now it's going to be my choice. I'm going to agree with that because I do believe it was Sami Zayn. Not so much for his character work, because I think we got to really see him flourish as just the creative person he is. But, man, I miss watching this dude wrestle in the ring, and we just haven't seen it. And when they do put him in the ring, minus that little feud he had with Kevin Owens, it's always just kind of been of a joke. They've just used him as a joke, and that's not Sami Zayn. This man can go. If you've seen him wrestle, you know what we're talking about. I don't need to sell you on this.
Didn't we get that amazing triple threat ladder match with him and AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy this year? Was that this year?
No, that was last year.
Okay.
Match of the year last year, and it was Sami.
The most intelligent finish to a ladder match ever done.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah. But
and
I'll give you a quick second, Zane, to shout out your buddy Eddie Kingston and say why.
You see, if you look at one guy throughout this year who's been consistent, right? Shut up, Andy. Who's been consistent with his matches, and whenever you need him, he's there, right? Versus Punk, versus Miro, right? Versus Danielson. His matches have been on an entire other plane of existence, and you can't deny his promo skills. So and he doesn't get his flowers, right? And he doesn't get his due credit.
Love fest over. Alex, roll that footage. There you go. Sami Zayn is your winner.
Sammy.
Got that one right.
KIDD Bandit, the protagonist of professional wrestling, and the breakout star this year is fellow ska enthusiast Sami Zayn.
I apologize. We had KIDD Bandit Naruto run all the way to the award show to tell us the winner, and I messed it up. I apologize 100%. I got excited because Sami Zayn won the award. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But very big thanks to KIDD Bandit.
KIDD Bandit.
Very nice of them. Very nice. I
Yeah.
appreciate it very much. We all appreciate it. Anybody have any issues with Sami Zayn taking this award?
No, I think
Nah.
after Roman Reigns, he has been the MVP of SmackDown because you can't argue with that. He's been carrying that show.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. So with that, we're going to move right on to the next category. And this one's going to shock some people, but it's the Tag Team of the Year. And I will start this one off. If there was one tag team you knew I was not going to pick for this award, who would it be, Maddie? Who would it be, Maddie?
I don't know. Their name's on the tip of my tongue. Maybe with little super kick might get it off of there.
Yes. Never in a million years would I pick the Young Bucks. But I'm going to let you know right now, my choice was the Young Bucks. I think, as much as I don't like them,
Wow.
they did their thing this year, and they did it pretty
Damn
well.
straight.
I just wish they wouldn't have been on TV so much. That's all. But enough of me. I'll never say it again. Yes. Thank you, Andy.
Well, something tells me you might be hearing it a lot more.
I thank you, Andy. Let's go over to Zayn since I cut him off last time. Tag Team of the Year, Zayn. Who you got?
FTR. I love FTR. They've always been my favorite tag team. I think last year, I love them. They've been criminally underrated, criminally underused. And if Proud and Powerful were shown more on TV, then it might have been a close one. But FTR is just one of those tag teams which, when you're watching them, you forget that you're watching wrestling. You really realize the art of combat sports and what professional wrestling can truly be. So I think that FTR really needs to get that credit. So here I am voicing my favorite tag team of this year.
We got Chris saying the Young Bucks are overused, and I somewhat agree, absolutely. But again, they did their thing. I can't not give them the credit that they deserve for what they've done. Maddie, what about you? Tag Team of the Year.
You know, Young Bucks and FTR were up there for me this year, and I'm 100% with Zayn. If Proud and Powerful would have been used, chances are they would have been my tag team of the year. But this year, it's between two. It's either the Lucha Bros or what Andy said in the chat, RK Bro. Without a doubt, RK Bro has been like the highlight of Raw this year. Since Matt Riddle and Randy Orton got together, that has been like kind of the best storylines that they've had, period, end, on Raw. So I think for the sake of saving an entire show, I'm going to have to go with RK Bro this year.
Okay.
And I have not had more fun watching tag team matches than seeing Matt Riddle do his thing and seeing the crowd go ballistic for the hot tag to Orton.
Yes. We got Tyson giving Lucha Brothers a shout out, not a bad nod. And I will say, when we were talking about the breakout performer of the year, my choice was Matt Riddle, and it was exactly for that reason. I feel like everything he's been a part of on Raw has just been gold, and it's why I really pushed to have RK Bro even a nominee in this category, even though I got some pushback on it, because I feel like they were just so important to the entire WWE product this year. Nick, what about you? Tag Team of the Year.
I got to agree with you. I've been tossing it up between the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks for about a week and a half trying to decide, but it's got to go to the Bucks this year. I think they're both a couple of absolute arses.
Yes.
But that spend far too much money on shoes. But they have done the work they've put in the last 12 months is beyond anything any other tag team has done. from character standpoints, from turning their entire personas around, for the in-ring work, that cage match with the Lucha Brothers, above all the others, that is the tag team match of the year for me. And what else? That you don't need to say anything else. It's the Young Bucks.
Okay, so I think we all got some nominees in there. FTR unfortunately didn't make it. That's not a knock on them. I personally believe they're the best tag team in the world today. I just don't feel like they did enough to really,
Agreed.
for the entire year, to make the cut. So with that said, let's check out the 4 nominees and the winner. Alex?
Bro.
I was shocked when the winner of this, when the poll was done and we got the winner, it was RK Bro. I am just completely shocked. And it wasn't even really narrow. They won by about 10% of the votes over Young Bucks.
I think they damn well deserved it.
I almost feel dirty for even mentioning the Young Bucks in this nomination, knowing I didn't even have to because they didn't win. But if you have anything to say, if you disagree, if you want to make a case, now's the chance. Speak your mind. Anybody
I mean,
you with the RK Bro?
I'm pretty surprised because, yeah, admittedly, they are the bar of soap in the sewer that is Raw. But I am surprised. I am very surprised.
I'm pleasantly surprised though, because again, I love RK Bro.
Oh yeah,
Matt Riddle, and I'm one of the.
This was a very good year for tag team wrestling.
So yes.
Yeah, but I'm one of the guys that, like, Vince only ever puts people together to split them up, and I've just been waiting for them to split them up because I want Randy to win the title off Big E at the Rumble, have Matt Riddle win the Rumble, and then have them go against each other for the belt at Mania.
Well, I'm gonna be at the Rumble, so if Riddle wins, I'm gonna just fucking lose it.
That was my scenario a few months ago. I don't think they're going that route now. I think they're going to drag it out until WrestleMania because that merchandise money, it talks. And RK Bro,
yeah.
into a WWE event, you know that's selling. So, surprise. That's the biggest surprise so far to me is RK Bro winning.
Oh yeah.
But with that, let's move on to the next category. We got the pay-per-view of the year. I had a really hard time narrowing these down. I got a lot of pushback on some of my choices. I had to rearrange some things. This was a very tough one. In my opinion, pay-per-views were not really that special this year. There was just 1 or 2 that really stood out. The rest were kind of like hit and miss to me. That's me. But let's take it to Zane. He's over here throwing his hands up, acting like a fool. Pay-per-view of the year, Zane. What do you got to say?
Very easily, very simply, All Out. When you have Eddie Kingston opening the show, you know it's gonna be one hell of a pay-per-view. And then you don't need to watch the rest of the pay-per-view. You have Eddie Kingston in the first match. What else do you need? No, but in all seriousness, you have 4 debuts, right? Ruby Soho, Minoru Suzuki, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole, and they dish them out all at once, and it was just a magical pay-per-view, and I can't pick one match off that pay-per-view. Well, maybe I can pick one match of that pay-per-view that I don't like, but all in all, that was such a great pay-per-view that the next day on Twitter, people were calling it arguably the best pay-per-view since WrestleMania X7. So, well, there it is. There you have my opinion on what I think is pay-per-view of the year.
Just to go back to the tag team segment, my buddy Thomas talking about tag teams all the time. I got to give the shout out to Hall and Nash. You know I got love for them. This shit's too sweet. Back to the topic at hand, though. We're going to go to pay-per-views again. Nick, how about you? Pay-per-view of the year.
I've got to agree with Zane.
I know we don't like doing it, but sometimes.
No one likes doing it. I feel filthy and need a shower right now. But that show was just something else. It's very rare that you sit down for 3+ hours of any wrestling show and don't get disappointed, like at all. And that show just delivered on everything that you wanted it to deliver on. There was wrestling at the end of the day is supposed to make you smile, and that show made you smile from the top of the card to the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Maddie, are you disagreeing with him?
You know what? I actually have to, because I genuinely enjoyed Full Gear more than I enjoyed All Out.
That's
Okay.
That's fair.
Now, the sole reason for there being so many debuts was what had Full Gear above All Out for me. Full Gear didn't need a bunch of debuts, appearances, or returns. You had Jay Lethal get announced for being part of AEW, and then you had Darby Allin versus MJF. You had Hangman versus Omega in one of the best built storyline matches of past couple years. And just all the in between. Lucha Bros versus FTR was fantastic. That top to bottom, that card was a solid wrestling pay-per-view card. And I'm gonna get a little bit of hate because Crown Jewel was like number 2 for me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For me,
Crown Jewel was like the best house show they've ever put on.
I'm gonna join the majority here. I'm gonna say All Out. My only beef with All Out was the Lucha Brothers Young Bucks match. That's my personal opinion, though. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy for it. I hated the match, but everything else on the show was just done masterfully. And obviously,
did you hate the match, or did you hate the fact that the Bucks were in the match?
I didn't like the match. I think the way they told the story of the match was just not fun. It was very just. I was completely taken out of it in the first 10 minutes.
Okay.
Just me, though. Young Bucks might have a little bit to do with it. A little bit. But, again.
It's definitely not the facts that the Bucks were in the ring for 45 minutes of Jimmy's time.
If they would have won, I would have turned the show off. But they didn't. But anyway, best part of the night, though, obviously, Adam Cole, Bay. And that's probably what pushed this one over the edge as the winner for me. Full Gear, obviously, unfortunately, not obviously, wasn't a nominee. So let's check out the other ones that joined All Out and see which one won this award. There you have it. I don't think anybody is shocked by the results of that one. And yeah, and just to give you a little bit of idea, real quick, who do you guys think was in second place of those 4?
Definitely not SummerSlam.
Slammiversary?
Slammiversary it was. And I'm going to run down.
Yeah, I was about to say Slammiversary.
I'm going to run down the percentages of you guys so that we understand how lopsided this one was. SummerSlam got 12%. Zayn went bye-bye. Crown Jewel got 17%. Slammiversary got 19%. And All Out got a whopping 52% with this is the biggest landslide of the entire show. And I'm not going to complain because it was a great show.
I was about to say, was there really ever a doubt?
And just to touch on the chat, we got Jay Lethal as an AEW. Yes, he was in AEW for like 2 weeks, and now he's gone missing. So tune in expecting to see him.
He's on Dark. He's on Dark and Elevation.
If you want to watch YouTube, check him out on YouTube. So with that, we're gonna go right into. Oh, there's Zayn again. Hi.
Welcome back, brother.
We're gonna move right on to the female wrestler of the
Where
year.
did you go?
Female wrestler of the year, real quick. Give me your nod. Let's. I feel like this one's pretty. There's two choices here, I believe. Let's see what everyone thinks. Zane, since you decided to come back and join us, what was your choice for female wrestler of the year? He is gone again. Maddie, who's your female wrestler of the year?
Like you said, Jimmy, it's between two women, and I'm going with Bianca Belair. It was definitely the year of Bianca. She, in character form, in ring, all around, and the match at WrestleMania being one of the most emotional moments of this year. Yeah, Bianca, this was definitely her year. Yeah. Britt Baker and Deonna Purrazzo, close second and third.
Nick, I believe I know your
Deonna
answer.
Purrazzo.
No?
Deonna Purrazzo, man.
Yeah.
That woman has had one hell of a year. Triple R, Impact. She's probably going to win the NWA title this year. Like, I love that woman. She's just, she is what a female wrestler should be.
She's had a fantastic run this year. There's no denying that. I'm going to give the nod to Britt just because I feel like the lights out match. I liked her slow ascent, and she did it without having to do it in the ring. And then her breakout match with Thunder Rosa was fantastic. And with not much to work at with in that division, she's still been able to maintain her relevancy. She's one of the biggest stars in the entire program. And again, to be able to do that with what she has to work with, booking wise and time wise, I think is just it's too much to not give her attention for it. But
I agree.
Fancy enough, all three of our nods were nominees. So let's check out that fourth nod and see who took away the award this year. So there you have it, the year of Bianca. It culminated in her Wrestlebuddy Female Wrestler of the Year award. I'm not going to argue against it because she was definitely deserving. But honestly, all three of our nods, I think, could have taken it, and there was a legit reason for it. Any disagreements with Bianca taking it?
No disagreements, just the fact that Charlotte was there had me confused.
It was hard to pick a fourth.
She had a good year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say about Charlotte. I'm not a fan of her, but she is always there. She's always presented as a top person. And after going to a few live shows, if you don't look at the perception of her online and you look at the perception of her with the casual crowd or the people who aren't on the internet, she is one of the most beloved people in all of wrestling. Just the other night I saw her, and the reaction she got was bigger than Drew's, and that just took me by surprise. I think the hate for is warranted to an extent, but we can't overlook just how great she actually is, though. At the same time,
she doesn't have a bad match.
No, I don't think there was a reason. I don't think there was a fourth girl that we could have put over Charlotte, and that's why.
Honestly, no. Becky and Sasha were both out for a part of the year, so
I believe Bayley would have taken this award hands down.
100% had she not got hurt.
Yeah,
I'm gonna nod to Bayley
easily. Well, Bayley's gonna win the Rumble, isn't she?
Dude, I hope so.
My buddy Tom says Zayn looked pissed when he got kicked out for a minute. No, that's how Zayn always looks. That's because he's a little shit. On to the next award, though. Male Wrestler of the Year. I believe this is a two-way race. I don't think anybody's – it's much like the women's. It's a two-way race here. But just to get your opinions, Nick, who is your male wrestler of the year?
It's a toss up between Danielson and Omega, but I'm picking Omega. Like
Yeah.
Kenny's, so to knowing the injuries that he had, the fact that I've got vertigo.
Yeah.
Right, I said this to you before the show started. I can barely play computer games with vertigo. How that man managed to friggin' wrestle with vertigo on top of a bad back, needing shoulder surgery, a duff knee, and everything else that he has gone through this year, and still put on arguably two of the top matches in the last 12 months, right? With the one with Paige and the one with Danielson. Like, how'd you pick against Kenny in this?
Yeah,
I can't.
we got Zane in the chat for the award show. He's saying Eddie Kingston, get my voice out there.
Someone voice my opinion.
Zane,
something
shut
about
up, Zane.
Eddie Kingston.
Nobody wants your opinion, Zane.
As my internet, I don't know why you would nominate him for Wrestler of the Year if he's as shitty as your internet, Zane. You're not here to defend yourself. That's the topic at hand. Let's go. Wrestlebuddy says Eddie Kingston sucks. I agree 100%. Maddie, how about you? Male Wrestler of the Year.
I think Nick surmised it perfectly. Oh, you said you summoned him. You summoned him, Jimmy. But Nick surmised it perfectly. It has to be Kenny Omega holding 3 titles over 3/4 of the year for 3 different major promotions. And like Nick said, wrestling with the separated shoulder, the back injury. Again, dealing with vertigo isn't something easy. My girlfriend can barely lay down dealing with vertigo. Like,
yeah, it's no
then the moment
sucks.
And Kenny Omega's like, I wrestle with vertigo, and then I'm just sitting there thinking he hits the ropes at breakneck speed to hit a Kataro crusher in the middle of a fucking throwaway match. So, like, that's absolutely mental that he did all that this year. It's Kenny Omega.
I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to Daniel Bryan / Bryan Danielson. I think it's absolutely insane to think that this man headlined WrestleMania going for the Universal title, and then months later, he's in AEW vying for the AEW World title against Kenny Omega. Well, he didn't challenge for the title, but he's in the ring with Kenny Omega, the champ, and he's challenging Hangman Page for the title. I think it's insane. WrestleSense podcast says, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry late Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Show. But I think, and it goes back to how Matt Riddle was my most, what was it? I keep forgetting. The breakout. He didn't have a bad match. Bryan Danielson didn't have a good match. They were all great.
They were all phenomenal.
Yeah, fantastic. We had Eddie Kingston pop in real quick. I think he wanted to say that he agrees with me. But with that said, let's check out the nominees for Male Wrestler of the Year. Now I will say this. I think if this poll was taken 3 days ago, I think Bryan Danielson is much higher on the list. Unfortunately, he came in 4th behind even after Alexander, who I don't want that to be a shot at him because he's fantastic as well, and I'm glad he got the recognition. But I can't say I'm surprised Roman won, but I've changed my mind on this recently, and I don't think he was the guy this year. I can see in his head. Take the floor, sir.
No. Sloman Reigns is not the wrestler of the year. He has been doing the same shit week in, week out, the exact same friggin' match for 24 months now. He hasn't changed a damn thing. Without Paul Heyman, he would have been the most boring thing on the show. If it wasn't for Jimmy Uso, the first half of his entire run would have been like walking in treacle. How? I do not understand the mentality of the internet. Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns. Hardest working man in the industry versus slowest working man in the industry. It baffles me at times. Don't get me wrong. Roman is good at what he does, right? He is very good at what he does. But what he does is not very good.
To play devil's advocate here, I will say this. I'm not the biggest Kenny Omega fan. I realize what he did was fantastic this year. He is a machine in that ring. I think where Roman takes the cake over Kenny is his storytelling in the ring. And I think that's what elevates him to a certain point.
Shouting at your opponent for 10 minutes in every match, very loud so the entire audience can hear the story that you're trying to tell, is not storytelling. It is a cheap excuse for lack of storytelling.
He's berating them to let them know he is that much better than them, and he is just abusing them. That's just my take on it. I get what you're saying. From a athletic standpoint, it's clearly Kenny Omega, hands down, no argument from me. But from a professional wrestling standpoint, I see the Roman Reigns argument. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it.
People are entitled to their opinions. Their opinion is very wrong, but they are entitled to their opinion.
All I have to say on this, and it's gonna irritate Nick a little bit, acknowledge him.
No, I refuse. I refuse. I refuse. I shall never be on the island of relevancy. It shall never happen.
All right. With that said, we will move to the final category of the award show. And Zane, a.k.a. Eddie Kingston's biggest fan, has rejoined us just in time. A bouquet on his head. Yes, he definitely does. And with that, he's gone again.
He's gone again.
4.
It's like Batman. He comes in, says peace, and goes.
He's like Malachi Black. For our last award, it will be Moment of the Year. Take it away, Maddie. What was your moment of the year? And again, feel free to go anywhere in the wrestling universe to pull your answer.
Okay. Moment of the year. Moment of the year. I could go with Bianca winning the title. I could go with Big E winning the title. But I think, for me personally, moment of the year has to be, and it's the exact reason that it wasn't my pay-per-view of the year. It's All Out. It's the double debut. It's Adam Cole coming out to join the Elite, and then the American Dragons music hitting immediately after.
Okay.
Like
right now, I appreciate your nod. You're wrong. On to the next one. We got Nick. What was your moment of the year?
Adam Page winning the title.
Okay.
Like a 3-year storyline that has been the best storyline told in professional wrestling for the past 3 years finally reached its culmination. That, in its essence, is what professional wrestling is supposed to do. The good guy is supposed to conquer the bad guy eventually. He's supposed to chase him and chase him and chase him and chase him, and then eventually grab that brass ring and win. And that's exactly what we got. Sometimes predictable is good.
Okay. I'm gonna tell you two. You're wrong, Zane. Let me know.
I know exactly what Jimmy's. I know exactly what Jimmy's is.
Zane, are you here? Can you hear me?
Zane, are you here or are you just in spirit?
Zane, I agree with Jimmy. Yes, Zane agrees with Jimmy. Moment of the year for me is the winner. I don't care what the poll says. I don't care what anyone else says. The moment of the year is CM Punk returning. We got Chris in the chat. He agrees with me. I like you, Chris. You're a good man.
That was my number 2. Punk was my number 2.
It's the Punk return. It's got to be the winner. I just had to say something other than it.
That's exactly what I was like.
Wrestling is supposed to make us happy. We're supposed to enjoy it. It's supposed to be beautiful. And I don't think there was anything more beautiful than watching CM Punk just walk to the ring, bring
in his hometown,
their biggest crowd to date, and then sitting down Indian style and giving us maybe the second best promo of the year. And then later on, he gave us the first best promo of the year with MJF.
Promo of the year.
I think the return it was beautiful, and it's what really pushed me over the edge to really start paying more attention to AEW. But with that said,
before we go into the nominees, though, that moment where they just open up Rampage with the crowd chanting CM Punk, CM Punk, and then Cult of Personality hits. I've never had such genuine goosebumps on my skin from a wrestling moment.
My girlfriend says that one of the she really enjoyed watching my excitement from watching. She wasn't even watching it. She was watching my excitement, and it was just awesome to her. That's how truly just beautiful I thought the moment was. And we got Eddie Kingston, a.k.a. Zane, in the chat. I got to give him credit. His moment of the year was Eddie Kingston coming down to save Mox. That's not a bad nod. It's not a bad
It really isn't.
I think if the explosion didn't falter, it would have been a much better moment. But it is what it is. That's the way she goes. But with that said, let's check out the nominees and let's check out the winner because I'm right. I'm right.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, and then
Punk.
Our opinions on it. We got WrestleSense saying he agrees. The CM Punk moment of the year. 7 years in the making, and they pretty much told you it was going to happen. It was predictable, and it still rocked. 100% agree.
Sometimes predictable is good.
Yes, this is one of the instances, because I hate predictability, but this is one of those instances where it worked in my opinion, and I have nothing bad to say about it. It was just masterfully done. Even Jim Cornette came out of the works to say he couldn't have done it better. And there's no higher praise from Jim Cornette when it comes to AEW than what he said. And that's what it was. So if you'd like to add on, feel free. I'm just relishing in this moment.
Honestly. Man. Oh, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah.
No, it's cool, man. I'll let you talk for once.
I was just gonna say honestly that there's no other moment in wrestling this year. That crowd reaction, and it wasn't just the crowd reaction, because if you go to any wrestling YouTube that did reactions to that, it was them too. It was the fans on Twitter, on Facebook. This is the most anticipated and most warm-hearted welcome back to pro wrestling for I think anybody ever. Yes. The Rock didn't get that. Batista didn't get that.
I think the only person that could possibly rival that would have been Stone Cold Steve Austin had he just been completely gone and not showing up periodically through the time. Because in my opinion, there's no one that's ever gotten a bigger pop in wrestling than Stone Cold so consistently. But yeah, you'll never be able to copy to get that reaction ever again.
No, you can't replicate that.
CM Punk, the man, getting it. Zane, what do you got to say about it? Jimmy, you look really good in that jacket. Thank you, Zane.
Fascinating.
I believe that's going to conclude our first annual award show. I would like to thank you all for tuning in. I would like to thank Nick for joining us. I would like to thank Maddie for joining us. I would like to thank Zane for trying to join us, and everybody in the chat that participated. much love to you. This is our first year with Wrestlebuddy this year, and next year we're just going to be getting bigger. Things are going to be getting better. You should definitely be checking out our articles, our podcasts. Everything we got going on is a lot of fun. We got a lot of great people, and I highly encourage you to be checking us out. We're only going to get better. So with that said, I will bid you adieu. They all sign off, give your goodbyes. We'd like to do the traditional wave. Zane will not wave. He will wave. There he is.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us, everybody.